Hello friends, and welcome back to Little Village Homestead. I'm Renee, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm doing so much better, friends. Oh my gosh, I had walking pneumonia, and I had it in both lungs, so it took me about a week, maybe better, to get over this. Slowly, but I'm feeling so much better. I'm getting my energy back, and it's like, oh my God, I'm getting antsy. I can't sit and relax no more. So, good thing. Good thing. And I miss my grandbabies. Nobody's come around here. They all avoid me like the plague the last 2 weeks. And that's all right, because nobody needs to get sick again. It was horrible. It all started from an upper respiratory infection. So, hopefully that's done. Anyway, I got a nice cup of cocoa. I hope you all got your coffee. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy chit chat because I got a few things that I want to touch base on. And a couple things. I was watching a video the other day, and her name is Lisa from Sutton's Days. And I'm sure you probably are familiar with her. And if not, check her out, Sutton's Days. She's fantastic. What a wonderful lady she is, and quite knowledgeable. I really respect her wisdom. Anyway, in her the video that I watched, it was titled "To Stack or Not to Stack," and she's talking about stacking your canning jars. Now, a lot of people won't stack their canning jars. I will not stack quart jars, and I did comment on her. I did comment on her video that, you know, I've canned for over 30 years, and I've really never had a problem with stacking my pint jars, because if you can see back here, well, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to show you. My canning jars, all these, let me move my chair. All these in between my pints. None of my quarts are double stacked, but my pints are. But I've got nice, sturdy, heavy cardboard in between them. And you're either going to want cardboard or even a piece of wood, or, you know, some sort of a firm support in between those jars. And it should be okay. I mean, even the USDA says, yes, you can stack them. And she did mention that. She was spot on with all of it. That you could stack, you know, just don't stack it more than 2 or 3 high. Well, I'd never stack them 3 high. And I would never stack them directly on top of each other. So, just wanted to say that that was a wonderful discussion. Because some people say that it will create a false seal if you do that, and some people, you know, might be worried about that. Well, I don't want to say you're wrong in calling it a false seal, but it really isn't a false seal that it creates, or that happens. It just breaks the seal. Quite simply, if you don't take care of your jars and you don't put some sort of support in between them, you can be guaranteed that those seals are going to break. Because if you're anything like me, or probably many of the other canners out and about, you come through once a month. I wipe these down, I check the lids, I make sure everything, I move them around, I rotate my goods, but once a month, faithfully, I come in here and I check all my jars. I check all my lids. I've canned for over 30 years, and I probably have had, in all that time, I might have lost maybe 4 seals. And it wasn't to double stacking. It was just to extreme heat or extreme cold, or just had what is called at that point in time a false seal. And so I can tell you that I will, you know, there's some people out there that'll say, oh, absolutely not, never, ever, ever, ever double stack your jars. But you know what? I do have a bedroom. My pantry is a nice size pantry, but I don't have a lot of shelving. So I have to make do because I do a lot of canning. So that is why I do double stack only my pints and my jelly jars in the small, the small jars, a pint and smaller. And I always have cardboard or something firm in between them that will protect those seals and the lids. So, but with a false seal, I did have somebody ask me about that quite a while back, and I never got back to it, and I'm sorry, but now is probably the perfect time to explain it, because that's what they had asked me in an email. What in the world is a false seal, and how does it happen? So I'll explain it to you. A false seal can occur from not wiping your rims down. It can occur from debris being stuck in your rims if your jar even seals at all. Anyway, from not wiping your rims down. The head space is very important. Overfilling your jars can create it. Not venting your canner the proper time. Not processing your food in your jars for the full length of time. Opening your canner too soon. Forcing the pressure out of it. All those things, well, that will definitely create siphoning as well. But all those things can contribute to what's called a false seal. Now, a false seal, basically, when you process your food, whether in a water bath canner or a pressure canner, that processing it heats up the food, not just inside the canner, but inside that jar. The food inside that jar, we're going to use pressure canning for an example. The food inside that jar that's inside that pressure canner is going to have to heat to 240 degrees plus in order to kill the microorganisms and the botulinum spores and anything else that might be, unsafe in your food. So that's going to take care of that. It is also going to create a vacuum which is going to suck all the air out of that jar before it seals. So when you process your jars and say you didn't wipe your rims down, or you didn't vent your canner. Okay, say you didn't vent your canner for the 10 minutes. The purpose of venting that canner is it pulls out all the air from inside that canner. That way the canner can be assured, you can be assured that canner is going to reach 240 degrees. If there's air left in that canner, if you don't vent that canner, that air in that canner is going to hinder the temperature. It's going to make the temperature fluctuate. Or your temperature inside your canner may never even reach 240 degrees, which in turn, it's going to process, but it's going to create air pockets inside your jar. Okay? It's not going to pull all the air out of your jar because it's a science. It has to get to a certain temp for a certain length of time in order for that process to happen. So you wind up with air in your jar. Okay? But you hear it ping. You pull it out. Everything else is good. And you even hear it seal. Perfect. You're going to wash it when it cools down, and you're going to set it in your pantry. Never think nothing more about it. Well, there's air trapped in that jar, okay? And where the false seal comes in at is you may have that, like my bedroom or my pantry is an old bedroom. So there's a heater duct in here, so I can't really keep this room cold. So it does get fairly warm. And when that jar heats up, the air bubbles in that jar is going to expand, and it is going to flip that lid right off. And that, friends, is a false seal. And if you don't know, if you have that jar sitting way in the back of your pantry or in a box under your bed or whatever, you are going to smell the foulest, nastiest, rottenest smell. And a matter of days after that happens, mold, God knows what, it might bubble up, roll all over other jars, or it's going to be bad. So you'll definitely know that jar is bad. But that, friends, is really what a false seal is. But if you double stack your jars without some kind of support in them, because the USDA tells you you can stack them no more than 3 high, but I wouldn't even go that high. But they do also tell you you must, or it's recommended, I shouldn't say must, it's recommended that you put a some sort of a firm support in between those jars to protect the lids. So that's what a false seal is. And Mandy, that's the girl that asked me that about 2 months ago when I was canning, and I didn't get to answer that. And then when I watched Lisa, I think it's Lisa, when I watched her video and she mentioned a false seal, oh, it reminded me of that. I thought, you know what? I need to talk about that. We need to chat about that. But she is spot on. I like her videos. I like her channel, her content. She uses the USDA website faithfully. Her recipes don't falter from it. It's good. And there's not too many recipes out there floating around out on the internet that I would actually use, because so many people get so comfortable with canning without knowing the science behind it that they just take shortcuts and they skip steps. And you know what? No, don't do it. When you do recipes, when you wanna try a recipe, by all means, do your homework through the USDA website. Because you know what? You want to preserve food for your family. You want to can healthy, nutritious meals for your family. You don't want to feed them their last meal. And some of these recipes floating around online are just inviting that. So do your homework. And I'll tell you, if you haven't checked out Lisa, go check her channel out. She's amazing. There's a couple of them. She lives directly across from me in Michigan. She lives in northeastern Michigan, and I live in northwestern Michigan. And someday I'd like to meet her because she's really a neat gal. But I do like her videos. And then the other one I watched of hers, and I'm going to try that because I was just intrigued. I liked that recipe. She did canning butternut squash with cranberries. Now my family, my mom and my dad, love roasted butternut squash with cranberries. Every year we have that. But I have never, in all the years of canning, I have never thought to can butternut squash with cranberries. Now I've canned it by itself, but never with cranberries. But I'm going to try that, and I'll share that. And I'll definitely give her the credit because it's all her. But a good channel. I like her. There's few that I watch, and I like them. The other one is that I feel is very thorough and very wise is Beverly Wolfe from our Half Acre Homestead. Fantastic woman. Fantastic woman. And so those are the two that I really, really like. And I have used, let's see, this recipe right here. Now, I don't do it very often. But these beans, these baked beans that I did, and I did a video on them, and these were from Homestead Tessie. Now, some things that she cans, I probably wouldn't never try it because I am pretty persnickety about canning. I don't take shortcuts, and I don't can things that aren't recommended. I don't play with that at all. But this recipe that she did was spot on, and it was great. So I did that one. But I'm going to also try Lisa's. I'm going to try that, and I'm going to let my mom and dad try that and see how they like that, how it turns out. But with that, so that's what a false seal is. And canning is, it's definitely not a hobby. I know so many people were saying, oh, canning's just a hobby. No, canning is not a hobby. Stamp collecting is a hobby. Canning, to me, canning is a way of life. It's not a job, it's not a career, it's a way of life. It's a way that I can preserve food and save money, live within my means, and feed my family healthy, nutritious, safe meals. So to me, canning is a way of life. Maybe to you it's a hobby, maybe to the other one it's a job, but for me it's a way of life, not a hobby. So with that being said, I've got 3, and you'll see a video, I've got 3 baby chicks. And yesterday I went out and I noticed she had one the day before. She had 1 baby chick in there. And I thought, ooh, what am I going to do? I don't really want them out in that cold because it's cold here. It's like 20, it's been down to as far as 19, as low as 19 at night. And granted, the mama is a good, brooder. She'll keep those babies warm, and keep them protected. But I thought, you know what? I don't want her, because it's so cold out there, and I just don't want her, to, how would you say it, ignore her own health to keep the babies warm and safe and everything. So I don't want her using all her energy to keep the babies warm. So I brought her and the babies inside my house. Yes, a chicken in my house. My house is immaculate clean, but I do got a chicken. A big fat hen. Anyway, I got them in a box, and I don't have to have a light in there because she's the best brooder around, and she keeps them nice and warm. But I've got their food and their water in there, and they're safe. They're not in the elements. And as soon as she is kind of like loses interest, I want to say, or gets aggravated with the babies and wants to get out of that box, I'm going to put her right back in the coop. And I will keep those guys inside because I only got 3 of them right now. And she was sitting on 8 eggs. Well, one of them was cracked and there was nothing there. It was dead. So the most I'm going to get is 7 hens or 7 chicks if they all hatch. So what I'm going to do is when she's aggravated with them and she wants to go back out to the coop, I'll just put her back out in the coop, and I'll put the light on the baby chickies, and I will leave them in here until they get their feathers and they're ready to go out. But this is nice. People said, oh, you shouldn't have let them get broody in the wintertime. You know what? It's late fall. Okay? It's not winter yet, friends. It's still fall. And even though there's snow on the ground and it's cold, it's winter, but it's fall. I wanted them to hatch out some eggs, because now these chicks will be old enough come April, May, they're going to start laying. They'll be laying eggs. So nice. Perfect way to do it. And then they're going to be a lot hardier when you let your chickens hatch out eggs in the colder weather, you're going to have a hardier bird. And of course all of them are cold, hardy birds anyway, because the fertile eggs come from my son. And somebody asked me that the other day. Well, what is a rooster for? Or don't you, they're laying on their eggs. I thought you had to have a rooster. Yes, you do have to have a rooster to have fertile eggs. You don't have to have the rooster for the hens to lay eggs. They'll lay eggs without a rooster. But if you want them to hatch them out, you need a rooster, because then they're fertilized. So those eggs that I got, that she hatched out, obviously came from my son, who's got 30 or 40 hens, I think he's up to. And he's got a few roosters with all those hens. So those eggs were all fertile. And but I'm looking at these little chicks, and you'll see it in a video. I got a little video of her and her babies. I think they're Plymouth. They're Barred Rock. They're Plymouth Barred Rock, like Rocky was, and Rocky is over there. Rocky, I sent him to my son's house because he got so mean. But these guys are all black, and they got the little white spots on their wings and the little white spot on the top of their head. So I do believe they're a Barred Rock. So they probably are gonna look like Rocky. And hopefully, because I'd love to have about 3 or 4 more hens, so hopefully they won't all be roosters. I'll have a couple hens. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll have all hens. That'd be nice. But so they're in here, and they're safe. And the cat, she was cackling at the cat because Charlie's over there looking at her, all curious. And, oh, Charlie, you get your butts out of there. She'll peck you to death and back. But, yeah, Charlie doesn't go near her, but she was looking, and she was just cackling at her. I'm drinking hot cocoa. I love my coffee, but every now and then I like a good cup of cocoa. Nice, thick, and creamy. So, oh my goodness. What else is going on around here? I was so sick I lost out on days. I miss my grandbabies. I haven't seen my grandbabies in about a week and a half. Because I was just so sick, and I didn't, they didn't ignore me like I had the plague. I didn't want nobody around me because I didn't want to spread the love anymore. It's spread around enough. So, I miss them. I miss them all, and I can't wait till I'm completely over this, and I can love on them again, and make cookies, and, oh, we're going to have fun. And now that I'm getting better, I'm going to start doing videos on make-ahead meals for the freezer for the holidays to make life easier. I can't wait. I'm going to do sweet potatoes, regular mashed potatoes. I got a video coming up because my husband's back out on the road. Y'all know that. He bought his truck. And we finally he had to go down there. So he was 3 weeks without his refrigerator. So he's got his refrigerator now, and I stocked it full again. Sent him out and about and make some money and have some fun. Well, the other day I did a video because my husband likes the little pizzas. Well, you can buy them, and they're a nice size, but I thought, you know what, I really like to give my husband homemade stuff as much as I possibly can, because when you're out on the road, you eat, and it's all processed food, and, other than the salad bar. You can have the salad bar, and that's pretty healthy, but everything else is processed and preservatives and all that. So I wanted to give him food that is homemade from home. And, the other day he says, I want some pizza. I'm hungry for pizza. He says, too bad I couldn't get a couple of those pizzas and put in the freezer. I said, no, I got the perfect idea for you. So I did a video the other day of, I made him little mini pizzas with English muffins. They turned out fantastic. So they're in a big bag in the freezer waiting for the next time when he comes home to stock some of them in his freezer. And my husband won't be home for Thanksgiving. So we're going to delay our Thanksgiving so that he can be a part of it, obviously. We would never, ever have Thanksgiving without him. And so I think our Thanksgiving is going to be like on the 30th, 29th or 30th, somewhere in there. So that'll give me even more time to do some videos and get things, get things around. And I'm going to let it go right on over into the Christmas season. And I cannot wait to put my Christmas tree up. My daughter Bevy loves Halloween. She decorates and goes out for Halloween. So does my neighbor. Now, I don't decorate the outside of my yard, but I love my Christmas tree. I love Christmas. It's my favoriteest time of year. And I'm so excited for it this year, and I can't wait. I'd have my Christmas tree up already if I had my way, But everybody says I'm nuts. You can't put it up before Thanksgiving. Why not? If I could, I'd have that Christmas tree up all year round. I like it. I love it. But my husband says no. Put it up after Thanksgiving. So the day after Thanksgiving, my Christmas tree goes up and all my little decorations. And then I get into the holiday season, baking and candies and all kinds of stuff. I got all kinds of videos coming up. This year I'm going to do some more bark, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to do more cookies, and I know I got some videos already for cookies, but I'm going to redo them. And I'm going to do, chocolate covered nuts. I've got a lot of the big peanuts, what would you call them, the Virginia peanuts. My neighbor gets them, and she don't like them, and they're always given to her. So she gives me these big containers of them. Well, I'm going to use them for some chocolate covered peanuts this year. That'll be fun. So I'm doing that, and then Bevy and I are going to do some DIY Christmas gifts again, like I did last year. I did some of them. Well, this year I'm going to do some more, so we'll have more ideas for you and things to do, and we're going to do a few hauls to Goodwill and places like that, and she's going to show you more couponing for, Christmas stuff and buying stuff online, and she's just a pro at that. So there's lots of stuff. It's getting busy. It's getting the holiday season. And, so I feel good. I'm just a babbling. Tap, 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 and I'm sorry. It's like I lost days. But I did want to make a kind of like a video comment on Lisa's video. I liked that video. That was good. Who would have thought, to have a discussion like that about stacking your jars? Because people that are new to canning, unless you're an old seasoned canner, you're not going to know that. You're going to wonder, and you don't. That's how you learn things. And on top of that, you study the USDA website on home preservation. Perfect. They'll tell you anything you need to know. You can always research it. Just don't trust every single recipe that you see online. And, I probably shouldn't say this but I'm not going to mention names or anything, but there are people out there who can bread and flour and, or noodles, not canned flour. You can oven can flour. But I mean pressure canning or whatever, or canning bread and biscuits, and that's just a recipe, friends, for disaster. Take my word for it. Don't mess with it. If the USDA tells you it's not recommended because they can't find a way to make it safe, why do it? It's like, are you going to go get a flu shot if the government says, hey, there's a chance it can be contaminated. It's probably not recommended this year to get one. Are you going to run out and get it? Nope. Neither am I. And if they tell you it's not recommended to can noodles or rice or all this, that, or the other, I'm not going to can it. I've canned over 30 years, and I've never canned noodles or rice or bread or cake or anything like that. I can vegetables. I can jam. I can, I dehydrate food. All that. I don't can with flour or cornstarch. If I make soup that requires a thickening in it, I use ThermFlow. And you can get that, I get it at the Amish store. Speaking of the Amish store, I'm going to make a trip, and I don't know exactly when. It might even be tomorrow. But I'm going to make a trip over to Lake City. We're going to go to the Amish store over there again. I'm all excited because this time I'm taking my cooler. And now that it's, 20 degrees outside, it's not gonna melt or go bad in the 50. It takes me 50 minutes to get home, 45, 50 minutes. So we're gonna take a run over there. I'm gonna take my daughter Beverly with me, because Susie went with me the one time. This time, excuse me for coughing. This time Beverly's going to go with me, and I'm going to load up on the meats and the freezer stuff, because now I've got room in there. And, I have not done, the last time I went on a grocery run, friends, I think was the last time I went there. And that was, if I remember correctly, that was in August. September, October, and we're into November. So I don't go to the grocery store too often. But I did miss a good 10 for 10 sale this last week at Meijer. They had onions, 3-pound bags of onions on sale for $1 a piece. Oh my gosh, I would have loved that, because my onions, I usually have this jar full. And these are onions that I grew in my garden that I dried up. But for $1, so I'd get, 30 pounds of them for $10. Is that how it works out? I'm an accountant, but I can't do my math today. My head isn't that clear yet. They're $1 for 3 pounds. So that doesn't equate to that. Oh well, I'm not completely okay yet. I'll use that as my excuse. Yeah, that's a good one. But anyway, 3 pounds for $1. So that would have been perfect to make some onion flakes with, or some dehydrated onion, chopped onions. And I was upset when I missed that. It's like, man, that don't come around too often either. And now I got a lot of peppers. I know the one, when they do their peppers, they're 10 for 10 their peppers. I always pick up 10 just to dehydrate, because I like using those and chilies and stews and soups and stuff. I'm also going to do, because my local butcher has his roast is on sale. And I don't remember how much it was a pound, but I know it's a couple dollars less than what it normally is. And it's a great big huge roast. So I'm going to go up there today and I'm going to pick up that roast, because I'm going to do some beef stew with it. My family loves the beef stew, especially my daughter and my one daughter Susie and the granddaughters. They eat it like crazy. And it's so much healthier for you than the canned, store-bought. Not that I would never eat the store-bought, because you know what? If it's a good price, I'm going to grab it. But this is a good price too, so I'm going to do some canning, and I'm going to do a video on that. And it's just basic, simple, beef stew. So I'll do my video on that. And I was thinking that the burger was going to go on sale here so that I could have done my chili, but that hasn't gone on sale yet. And when it does, I'm going to do a video on making chili. Except I'm not going to put chili beans in it that are already processed. If I do make my chili with chili beans too in it, I'm going to use the dried ones. So friends, I think that I've babbled on enough, and not much else going on. The chickies are fine. I'm going to go and edit some videos and have some lunch, and then I got to go up to the butcher and get that roast, and I'm going to do a video on that, and that probably won't be up until maybe into December, because I'm quite a ways ahead of myself for videos, which is nice, because now that I got my grandkids I take care of, and my grandbaby, my youngest one that I take care of, sometimes it's hard, and I can't, sometimes it's days before I do a video. So this way, being a week or two ahead, perfect. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go, because I can't sit here idle no more. I got to get things done. And you all have a wonderful day. And again, check out Lisa Sutton's Days video and leave a comment in there. And she's awesome. You'll love her. So, y'all have a good day, and thanks.